Hey everyone, Troy Brooks with Email and Coffee. I'm speaking to Clint Weldon today. Clint Weldon today. Well, sometimes I speak English and sometimes I just speak. We're going to be talking a little bit about the odd things that happen, and I'm going to start off with Skinwalker Ranch. But before we go there, Clint, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me, Joy. This is awesome, and it's been a lot of fun. We were kind of chit chatting in the green room before we went live, and I am the host of a podcast called Night Shift on YouTube, and it's a YouTube channel and a podcast, and we talk about aliens, UFOs, non-human intelligence, the weirder things that are happening in the news around the world that mainstream media doesn't get into. We kind of create a safe space where if you're into that weird stuff and you want to talk about it and you can't find any friends or family to talk to, you try to talk to people at work and they're like, what? Aliens? Come hang out with us. And that's what we do. We drink a lot of coffee. We talk about weird stuff. It's fun.
You know, talk about not talking about it to your friends. I have a girlfriend that I walk with, and I once mentioned it to her, and we're walking, and she went like this. Like, okay, she's not the person to talk to about it. Nobody wants to talk. My mother, may she rest in soul, she would have talked to me about this.
Well, look, there's a couple, some people are just really into the weird stuff, right? Like I was like that when I was a kid. I hear, you hear about like Sasquatch, or you hear about UFOs or aliens or something, and it's just fascinating, right? And other people, they've got other things on their mind, and it's just not in their world. But if you're into it and you're trying to like when the UFO thing got really big again in 2017 and it kind of exploded into the mainstream media, it was hard not to see it. I mean, it was everywhere. And so I'm talking about it to my wife. I'm talking about it to my friends. I'm texting my neighbor. And a lot of people are just sort of like, okay, yeah, it's interesting, but like, it's not my thing. And so we were just, I was kind of sitting there thinking like, well, who do I talk to? And I started making the YouTube videos and I put the channel together. And then before I knew it, now we're at 31,000 people, subscribers, and we're growing. And it's just been
Good for you.
crazy, how fast it took off.
So I said Skinwalker Ranch, so that's the elephant in the room. So I've been watching and been reading about Skinwalker Ranch for years. And I keep thinking, what could it possibly be that has scientists jumping up and down and talking bullshit at the same time? Like, what could this be? So I and Claude AI went into a rabbit hole the other day, and I was like, let's talk about Utah, the Uinta Basin, and I want to know everything about it. It immediately came back with gilsonite deposits, gilsonite, ozocerite, and wurtzellite, which are unique to the area. And also, while it's not directly the Uinta Basin, which is Skinwalker Ranch is in the Uinta Basin, Upheaval Dome, which is 60 miles to the southeast, it's a confirmed meteorite impact crater. So in history, that area was something happened.
Something happened there. Yeah.
And there are materials in that area in the mesa. Every time they go into the mesa, I'm like, oh my God, it's the mesa.
Yeah.
Come on, stop, it's the mesa. So gilsonite specifically is a very unusual metal. It's a hydrocarbon, but what it does is, and I'm reading this, hydrocarbon composition and crystalline structure could act as a natural waveguide or electromagnetic conduit, similar to how carbon-based materials conduct electricity.
Interesting.
So the mesa is actually magnifying the natural electromagnetic field. That's the whole dome. And it's underneath. Of course, it's underneath. It's in the dirt, for goodness sake.
So
Don't
you're
think
you're
it's
thinking
on
a lot.
top.
You are you saying that? So a lot of the stuff that they're seeing is being is like interference that's being generated by this
It's
big electromagnet
broadcasting. It's
broadcasting.
amplifying. There's a there's also a what there's a missile base. There's something close to them. So there's actually Army, Navy, not Marines. Let's not say Marines. Army, Navy near them,
Yeah.
but not right on top of them, but near them. So what's happening is this basin is broadcasting, magnifying, leaking information. All of those things.
All of those things.
All of those things.
That's why it's
and they
so
can
weird.
reproduce it. They can create it. That's why I'm like, why are you shooting rockets? Are you a bunch of little boys shooting rockets? And he gets so excited when he shoots his rockets. And I'm like, what's he doing?
That's the thing with this is what we were talking about before. It's like when you have television, you have a schedule, you have a payroll, you have a production timeline you have to stick to. You can't be waiting around for something weird to happen. You got to make something happen. And I think a lot of the stuff that they do on the show is just necessarily, it has to be TV friendly, right? It's got to be good
the
TV.
Thing is,
Rockets are cool.
It's two things. They're making it happen, and it's very exciting. And they sort of play it up a bit. So they call them UAPs, but it's quite clear. But they're creating plasma in the sky when they do these things.
Yeah.
And it's being generated from this natural what's in the mesa.
Have you ever looked at this? It's called HAARP, HAARP. Do you know what HAARP is?
Is that the weather? No.
It's the High Altitude Auroral Research Project. It's supposedly a weather modification thing. Right. It's this big antenna array that can send up tremendous amounts of power into the upper atmosphere. And they built this thing back in the early or mid 1990s, if I remember right. And they never really said what it was for. But now when you just said plasma, it kind of makes me wonder if that's something that could be like a weapon. Is that something that's being used by the military?
It's also propulsion.
Propulsion.
So that's when I'm like, wait, as soon as I did all this and I got all this information from Claude, I'm like, propulsion. So let's go back to Dr. Travis Taylor.
Yeah, where's Travis at on all this?
So Travis works for Radiance. And Radiance is propulsion. It's a think tank where they can do re-engineering.
Okay.
Right? They're just looking for stuff to backward engineer. He works for Jay Stratton. We all know who Jay Stratton is. So Taylor and Stratton are somewhat like this. Also, at Skinwalker, there's another person called Matt Turner and Caitlin Russell. They're both scientists. Caitlin is involved in the rockets, and Turner is involved with the balloons. So there's real science going on behind the scenes. And all these things are measuring the electromagnetics and trying to figure out when they do things, what happens. Because they're trying to see if they can actually create plasma, and then they can, I'll use the term, control it.
Yeah, direct it, move it around, yeah.
Right. It's not only a weapon, but it's also propulsion. And which gets me, then I start thinking, then what the hell is Musk doing?
Have you ever seen
what is he doing?
There's a video, and I'll have to find it and send it to you in a separate email, but it's so crazy. It's this defense research lab. They came up a few years ago with a way to make a ball of plasma. And it's in a lab, so it's not like out in the open, but they're in a lab, and you can see this ball of plasma, and they can modulate it so that it'll speak. They can project. They can make it into a speaker. So you could play music through it. You could play voices through it. You could make it talk to people. You could make it sound like a ghost. You could make it sound really weird. You could mess with people. And they demonstrated it in the lab. And it's like two lasers. And when the two lasers cross over each other, they create this little ball. And they were showing how it can be moved around. And I was like, man, that would make people think they were talking to an alien for sure.
Yes.
If you showed them that and didn't tell them what it was, especially somewhere else in the world where they've never seen anything like that.
Poltergeist. Right. This is energy.
Yeah.
So let me see if I get any further than that. So we've got gilsonite veins in the mesa, clearly. And I think that's what they're doing. They're trying to figure out how to generate this on the fly and what it can be used towards. And while we're watching Skinwalker Ranch and it's entertaining, and we get to see Dr. Travis say things like, "We're going to have an experiment," and I giggle every time I hear him speak. He's got that Tennessee accent or that Alabama accent. It's hysterical, and he's so excited about everything. And I'm like, this is a show about nothing, and there's so much behind it.
There's a lot behind it.
A lot behind it. It's not just BS.
He's cool though. I like him. I mean, I like that he's the guy you want, right? Like you want a guy who's super smart, who's as excited as like a 15-year-old kid who is just like ready to fucking go and solve some mysteries. And he wants to go to space and do all these things. So he's like, let's figure this out. You want that person. You want 100 of those people, 1,000 of those people.
Exactly.
Which is cool. That's what, is cool about Avi Loeb. Avi Loeb is like that, but he's a different version of that. He's the Harvard academic version of that, but he's doing the same thing. And, then you got Gary Nolan. He's another one who's a pit bull on this thing, and he's aggressive, and he's like, this is how it is. And we're just going to start talking about it like it's a real thing because it is.
It is.
And you get enough people like that are all kind of saying the same thing or echoing the same thing. And then eventually the skeptics just disappear. Like no one listens to them anymore. And I feel like we're coming up on that time. I feel like we're getting close to that because you're seeing so much weirdness. It's there is a there. It's just a question of like, what are we actually looking at? I know we're going to get a chance to see it for what it really is.
Well, what I always go back to is, okay, so what's consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
What is it doing? How does it get in this body? Does it have a life after the body? And if it does, if the answer is yes to any of these questions, where does it go? What is it? What is it? And is it part of this miracle, this physics, magic stuff that, most people don't understand, and physicists are still trying to create real case scenarios with math. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not woo-woo.
I think the woo-woo is the illusion. I think that's the wool that's been pulled over your eyes, that there's this idea of something called woo-woo. That's what's not real. What's real is, I mean, at least as far as my experience is, like, I don't know about you personally, but consciousness is the only thing that's real, right? You have to be conscious to even be able to be here, to have any of this. So your consciousness is number one. That's like the bottom. Everything comes from that. So the fact that we're even here, the woo stuff is just part of that. It all comes to, the material world is the illusion. And your body is when the body dies, the consciousness just goes on. It just keeps going. And I think that we're at the point now where enough people are looking at this from an academic standpoint that it's kind of becoming the accepted viewpoint that consciousness doesn't stop. It's a continuum, and it just keeps going. And whether or not the body dies is almost irrelevant. Your body's just sort of a spacesuit that your consciousness is wearing while it's here. These non-human intelligences, we talk about it a lot on Night Shift, that you hear various people in the government refer to from time to time. They talk about the human body as a container. That's what Bob Lazar said. He's done a bunch of interviews where he said in his briefing materials, he said that they referred to humans as containers. And the idea is like the container is just the body that holds the soul. But when the body goes, soul can move to a new body. And they've got a technology built around this that is somehow able to work. And they figured this out. It's a very bizarre thing, but like the longer you look at UFOs, the more you come back to consciousness, and like there's no way out of that loop. You stay in that same loop. It's very weird.
That's been my byline for this year at least, because I can't I can't say that we're the only biological conscious beings in all the universes, in all the galaxies. We can't be. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. And what we look like, or what others look like, and how what I can't figure that out either. And that's a layer there, but I don't dive into it. Try to think what it should be, could be, or it can't be. But it's just got to be. There's other life forms whereby consciousness, and again, I don't know what it is, consciousness is attracted.
Sure.
And then a reality is created around. That's the best I could explain it, and that makes no sense at all.
I think it makes perfect sense. And anybody who loves their dog or a cat person, or if you have a pet, or if you ever looked into the eyes of your pet and you go, they're in there. Like that's consciousness. That's what you just saw. When you look at a rock, you don't go, it's in there. You just go, that's a rock. When you look at your dog's eyes or your cat's eyes, or any animal that's looking back at you, you go, wow, they're in there. It's a different kind of consciousness. But like my dog is over here with me in the room. He's asleep in his bed. We're in the same room on the same day at the same time, but we have a completely different experience of what this room is. Like he's in a different world, but he's right there. That doesn't stop. If it's true for you and me and your dog and my dog and everyone else that we run into, then why would it stop with people? Why would it be, there's billions of humans, all the animals in the world. Of course, elsewhere in the universe, there's got to be unlimited forms of life. I mean, it must be endless. I just think it's like the height of arrogance for people to suggest that there's no way they would be interested in us. Like that's a weird one, because it's like, well, why wouldn't you be interested in another world with people on it that's like doing things, and they have a culture and a society, and they have what is that like? And it makes sense to me. Like they would be looking for us and we would be looking for them, right? Like you'd be in the dark with a flashlight looking around for other people. That's what we would be doing. I think that's where we're at. I think we're at the point now where maybe people are starting to become aware that this is not only happening, but it's happening in real time. And we might actually get a peek at what that process looks like. If what Avi Loeb is saying is right, this Atlas, 3i Atlas object could be a probe from deep space coming into our solar system. So you've got, that would be proof that other things are conscious way out there. Whoa, that would rock everyone's worlds, right? Like, I mean, how do you get up and go to work at a job you hate? Like, how do you go, once that information is out there, like, how can you, I just wonder how the world goes on. Maybe it just keeps on going and no one cares, but it just seems to me like.
But it makes us a little kinder. I think it makes us a little kinder because it humbles everybody.
Yeah.
And although some people will say, oh, that's not good. Everybody should, praise themselves. I'm like, no. There's a difference between I done a good thing and we don't need to do that.
Well, no one likes that guy. Like everybody, we all know that person, and yeah, nobody likes that person.
Yeah, we all. I think he's the president right now.
I mean, you see what it looks like. It looks like people who go all the way on that. It's one thing to have confidence, right? Like be confident, know your shit, be good at it, whatever it is that you do, and bring some, excitement to it and joy, and that comes through as confidence. That's one thing. That's healthy. But when you get to a point where it's just like me, I'm the only thing, I am the way, I am the light, like that sounds like mental illness to me. That starts to sound like this person needs help. This person is in trouble. Something's wrong with this guy. And I think for a lot of people, and you could see it in our culture, in our society, like you see these people who just they never have enough. There's no limit to how much. Like, what did Jeff Bezos just rent Venice, Italy? He closed down the whole city for his wedding. Hundreds of private jets flying in from all over the world, and it's like, dude, this is insane. There's people that are like sleeping outside tonight on the ground. There are people who are going to die tonight because of the weather. Like that's crazy. I hope that if we have that moment where, like, as a culture, we realize we're not alone. I hope you're right. I hope it does make people stop and take a breath and question, like, how are we doing things? Because this doesn't make sense. This seems like, well, I think you said it when we started talking. It's unprecedented times. This is weird as hell right now.
It really is. It's unprecedented only because unless we get destroyed in the process, this is the point where we yet evolve again.
Yeah.
Because after this, there's things that are happening. Is it AI and the biological unit that are going to merge? I don't know. I don't know. But there's so much opportunity here. So much opportunity, and it's so mind-boggling and so confusing that if we were to disclose it all, I think it would blow everybody's mind. That's I'm not saying I'm for disclosure, but I'm saying that what happens is that it's so easy to confuse people, and I think Diana Pasolka said that. She was like, "There's so much out there, and it's confusing."
It is. They want it confusing for sure.
Exactly, and it actually
because the government does a lot of shady stuff, and they want to cover it all up, and this is very helpful to them. They like a big, fuzzy gray area.
That big fuzzy gray area benefits them and it doesn't. So that they decided at some point in time to contract and not do it through the government because it would be plausible deniability.
I think that was the deal.
You wouldn't have to hide it in the government. It would be like, okay, it's out there. I mean, they're doing contra deals with UAP phenomena. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it's drug money. It's all that weird off the books money that these guys get. It comes in from all over. They seize bank accounts. They take it. There's unlimited money out there for these people to go get whatever they want. And if they don't have it, they'll make it. They can just invent it. I'm with you on that. That's what pays for all this. There's a whole secret world that's being funded by that money that we'll never see.
Absolutely. And so the government says, well, we're not involved. There's something to disclose.
Yeah.
There's no there. Again, there's no there. And it's plausible deniability. In the meantime, it's out there. And what happens is because so many of these companies, these private companies are doing it, one company doesn't know what the other company's doing. And within the company itself, I'm sorry, you don't have clearance to go down to the basement. You can't do that. I got to work with those people in the basement. Right. When they come up, you can talk to them.
You talk to them.
Yeah. They're there now. I got to get down now.
And you just nailed it. Like, that's the problem. Every incentive is on total secrecy. There's no incentive to share information. Like, if you don't know what your competitor has and they don't know what you have, you might be ahead. You can't let them in on that. You might be 5 years ahead or 5 months ahead, whatever it is. And so we might be in a situation where there's some kind of crazy emergency and we need this technology and we don't even know that we have it because no one knows what anybody else is working on. Right. And that could be catastrophic. And you could make the argument, and I do on my channel a lot, that like we are in dire straits right now. Like, it's not, look around, look at the crazy weather. You don't have to look far. Like, everything's on fire all the time now. Like, the floods are off the wall. They're all the time. They're 1 minute, Texas is underwater. The next minute it's the New York City subway system. I mean, your train is going underwater. You need a scuba mask to go to work. It's like, what is going on? and no one's talking about it. They're like, the fucking weather people are like, oh, I don't know, it's weird. They all act
Our
like it's some,
computer models look
well, I
like
don't know.
spaghetti. Is that weird?
Let's go to Mark with the weather. And Mark's standing there and he's like, it's going to be another hot one today, 105. And you're like, well, Mark, can you sit here? Can you talk to me for a minute about like how 40 years ago that fucking never happened? I mean, like, what happened? Why are there no bugs anymore? Like, there's no, like, you drive from one side of the country to the other. There's no bugs on your car. What is happening? There's something wrong here. And we do need this technology. And if someone's got it, we need to know who it is. We need to get it out. And we need to figure out how we can start solving some of these problems. I think humanity as a species has a very narrow window of time, maybe one generation, starting now. And we might already be too late to get through to the other side of this thing with some kind of a vision for what we want. If we can't imagine what kind of world we want on the other side of the next 20 years, we're probably not going to survive it. We have to have something to look forward to. And right now, the only people who are bothering to imagine a future are the billionaires that own everything. And guess what kind of future they want? The one where they own everything. And there's only two of them, or one. Like, that's the thing that's so scary right now. And they're not even hiding it. They're telling people, Sam Altman is like, he's building another doomsday bunker. Mark Zuckerberg's got $100 million doomsday bunker under his island in Hawaii. Peter Thiel's got one in New Zealand. All these guys are moving out to New Zealand and building bunkers. What do they know that we don't know? What do they think is going to happen? You watch these people who have the means to get prepared, and they're getting their ducks in a row. For sure they are. That's frightening. And we should all be thinking about that right now. I think that's the weirdest. That is why this time is so weird, because like, you're starting to see, imagine being on the Titanic and you're sitting there and you're watching, you're just hanging out, having a cup of coffee, and you're looking around and you start to see people get up from their table and they leave the room. And then you notice that there's more people leaving and you're like, where are they going? And then you look and you see some lifeboats and they're kind of going off to the back. That's where we are right now. Like, maybe you've picked up on it and maybe you're about to, but I think that's where we are. And, things aren't going to necessarily get better just because. They're going to get better because people notice and start paying attention and start talking about it. And that's what we have to do.
It brings me to the concept of stories that are told that are like myths, some that are religions, that we just write off now because everybody's secular.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's secular. And I'm fascinated with the stories in the Bible and the Greek myths. All of them. Anybody, just tell me a story from your culture. I'm fascinated to hear it, because what I hear is another civilization living through what we're going through now.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got something about Sodom and Gomorrah, which is essentially a place that probably got hit by a meteorite.
Mm-hmm.
And they turned it into see what happens when you're bad. When you're bad, God hits you.
Yeah.
Then we've got the whole story of Noah's Ark and the fact that everybody jumps all over the place, and they could say that the ark is in Ararat. Oh, there's no ark. Oh, we know the date for the ark. All those things. But recently, as I'm looking at Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah.
And the T structures and all the animals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what the heck are we looking at the story of Noah's Ark? It's not Noah's Ark, but it's where the story came from. They're telling a story that something that happened around their time. A lot of it's got every single animal on all the pillars. It has these wavy things. A lot of wavy things. Obviously, it has a star map. It's got the vulture with the wing, and the sun is on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
right below is the scorpion, which is you can map it to the sky.
I mean, if you zoom out far enough, right, and you just like open your mind a little bit. You don't even have to think that hard about this. You just go, look, in the entire history of the universe, there's probably been an almost unlimited amount of civilizations that have come and gone, right? Like that have already come and gone, not just on Earth, but all throughout.
Right.
And we're part of a process. It didn't start with us; it won't end with us. But we came into this thing that was already going. Why is it so hard for people to believe that there were maybe other advanced civilizations on Earth before us that got to the point where they could leave the planet? Right? Like, what if they got that far? They did leave, and some of them left and went out and started doing their own thing someplace else, and they're still there. And then they get, there's a cataclysm on Earth. It gets wiped out for a while. We come along. Now we start our civilization. We're looking around and we're finding bits and pieces of their old stuff. We see these ships out in the sky, these things moving around. Maybe that's what they mean when they're saying, and you hear this a lot in the UFO community, they're us. We're them. They're future versions of us, but they're not us. Well, how could that be? Well, it makes sense that they maybe were from here, but they're not us. They came from here, left, and now we're meeting again. That's what I think could be going on. It's my favorite hypothesis.
It's that, and the concept of dimensions or time,
mm-hmm.
that they're us in the future.
Yeah.
And they're
coming back.
That when you get to a point where not physical, but physics, when you get to a point with physics and you've got the equation where you can create speeds that, you warp time and things of that nature, where, we're not in a spaceship with our face against, because, we're moving so fast, we're like, in space, getting sent through space with a repulsion that's pushing us right through the windshield.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. But, if they can break the dimensional barrier and figure out time, space, dimension, 5, 4, 3, how many dimensions are there? If they could do that, then we're here with ourselves in the future and ourselves. I don't know about the past. I can't answer that. I don't understand the past. But we're here with our future selves. Right now, right here.
I think you're onto something, and I think that we've been doing this for about 100 years, right? Like we, trying to fly and to do, and we've made it to Mars. We've got robots driving around on Mars. The Voyager spacecraft is out in deep space. Like we've been doing this for just over a century. That's how far we've got. Imagine someone who's been doing it for 1,000 years. I mean, the idea that that it's not possible just seems ridiculous to me. Of course it's possible. Someone else will figure out how to do it. They probably already have. And that's probably what we're looking at least some percentage of it. When you see these weird lights or these weird craft, some of them are probably coming from a different time. Some of them are probably coming from just a faraway place. But I think it's a variety of different things. I don't think any one thing is responsible for all the weirdness that we're looking at.
Do you think if consciousness is more than we understand it to be, so our brain, our consciousness exists outside of our brain, but this human body, somehow the brain is not, it's a filter.
Yeah.
So the conscious comes and the brain begins to filter out everything around it. So it's locking out a lot of things, because for survival we can't be constantly getting input.
There's too much input. You couldn't. You wouldn't know what you were looking at.
So
it would be chaos.
Out a lot of input.
Yeah.
Which is, it somewhat explains why some people are empathic. Some people see things that other people don't see. Blah 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 blah. That autistic people perhaps have different powers because their brain is different, and
because the filter is not identical for all of us. Some people have a little different filter that's a little, maybe lets a few more things through. Yeah, I 100% agree with this.
So if that's what's happening, then people who say, the the people who say that, I talk with dead people. um, they are.
Yeah.
They may not necessarily understand how they're doing it. And maybe some people are grifters, but some people are doing it. Some people are doing it. And if we all, um, when we all allow ourselves to believe in it, that's when strange things happen. The hitchhiker effect.
Mm-hmm.
That's when strange things happen. So I have often said, when my husband passed away, one of the things I said after he passed away, not to him, but after he passed away, I was like, okay, so if you're out there, do not come knocking at the door to tell me, hi, there is an afterlife, because I will shit in my pants right this minute, and I will not be able to handle life, because once that veil is lifted, what's on the other side?
Sure.
And I'm not equipped to handle it. I'm just a little old lady all by herself. So, no, I have 2 dogs. Anybody who wants to rob the house, they're vicious. So, I've said that. I told him that, and he still comes to visit me, but in very subtle ways. And I tell him this is how, and I have these little. It's been 5 years. The first few years, it was a balloon. I said, I want you to talk to me through red balloons.
Oh, that's a cool way to do it.
And out of the air one day came a red balloon that said, I love you. I'm like, okay, thank you very much. I know it's true. So I was like, okay, that's that. Let's go on to the next one, because, and was I waiting for that to happen? Okay, maybe. What are the odds? Raise your hands, folks. How many people had a red balloon in their backyard that says, I love you on it? I don't know. Okay, so the next phase was another agreement, contract, covenant that I have with my husband, whereby I say to him, you come to me and talk to me like in this way. And he's done it 2 times already.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to let go of that one. So if we believe, we can convince ourselves of almost anything. And those are good, bad, and indifferent. That's the conundrum of consciousness, is that, you want to do bad things, you could do really bad things. The point is, let's do good things.
I mean, you don't have to look far to find people in this world that are doing awful things right now, and they think they're the heroes of the story. And it's a weird time. It's a strange time to look, because I think, to kind of bring it all back around, and then I'm so sorry, I have to run after this, but to your point about consciousness, the test for humankind is like, can we live with ourselves first? Can we even live with each other? Can we look at each other and not kill each other before we're allowed to participate in whatever comes after this? And there's some other world out there with other beings that are intelligent like us. If they made it as far as they've made it, it's either because they didn't destroy themselves or they've learned something that we don't know. But we've got to make it through the next generation. We got to make it through tomorrow. And the way things are going, it's hard to imagine how we're going to do it. But I hope that enough people are open-minded enough and think about their fellow human beings and the things that they're going through, and try to do it, live their lives in a way that is positive and helpful, so that we can build this world. We have to imagine a better world, and then we have to go make it. It's not going to happen on its own. That's something that we've got to do.
That's a great way to end it. And I do believe it's possible.
I think so too. I don't even think it's that hard. I think we make it harder than it is.
Exactly. You have a choice,
Yeah.
And you just make the right choice. And when you make the wrong choice, you're like, okay, I won't do that again.
You know.
And be responsible for that. Don't blame it. Well, you made me. No, I did it.
Yeah.
I wish we had more time, because that comes down to believing if we have free will. And I don't care what anybody says. I think we have free will.
That's it. Like, you've got to believe what you believe. It all comes from you anyway. Like, you're it. Alan Watts says it. He goes, "You're it." If you wonder where your consciousness starts and stops, it's like, it's all of it. It's everything that's happening. It's you. So what you believe is real. That's the secret. It's like you are making it up as you go, and inside your own belief system is where the secrets are. You've got to figure out what you believe in, and then you'll see it. You've got to believe it to see it.
And I think you will. You will.
Yeah.
So, Night Shift is a podcast on YouTube.
Yep.
People should go, subscribe, and watch. You'll get hooked. It's
a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and sometimes
Good people.
You just gotta lighten up, even when you're like, "Oh, this is deep shit," but lighten up. Lighten up and listen to it.
That's what we do. We try to take it. We try to get weird and keep it fun. So as long as we're doing that, I think we're in the right. We're moving in the right direction.
Thanks for giving me your time, and maybe we'll talk again. Come back
Joy,
sometime soon, y'all.
I would love to. Thank you for having me on.
Okay.
All right.
That's a wrap, folks.